What's the biggest thing for you to improve on, stepping up and being a starter?
I think everything. Playing the run, being stout as the run. Because I'm not as big of a guy, so being solid to run and just everything. Improving at a fast rate. I think I got a lot to prove. So. Okay.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 13 of the After Effect podcast. I am your host, LeBron Stephan. We have a very special guest today, Special Jennings, associate head for women's basketball coach. Sorry, uh, for UIC, the University of Illinois at Chicago. He's a native. We go way, way back to our younger years. Excited to create some diversity and have females on the show just to get some female perspective and, talk sports and talk her journey for our younger female listeners and things like that. And here she is. What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
How you been?
I'm doing all right. Yourself?
Oh yeah, pretty good, pretty good. I appreciate you jumping on. I know you're super busy right now, I'm sure. At least with like a lot of Zoom calls and everything.
It's that time of the year, man. It's been real weird with all this pandemic. Has really
Yeah. Yeah, super weird.
crazy.
Super weird. So yeah, this I call this podcast the After Effect podcast. It's essentially just giving people like us, former athletes, a voice to talk about, our upbringing, childhood, career through high school, college, pro, and then more importantly, the transition out. And for yourself, that's coaching. I feel like all of us athletes, we have some type of after effect post career. So this is just
Yeah,
for us to have a voice.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, of course, of course. I'm trying to create, diversity. So I want to have as many females as I can, that I know in my circle. So yeah, you the first, you a legend. So if you cool with it, we can jump right into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So first off, just kind of paint a picture for us, as far as you being an associate head coach, and when the pandemic dropped, I think it was like March 12th, March 13th. I'm sure you guys were like gearing up to head into the NCAA tournament, and then I'm sure you had a lot of seniors on your team. So just kind of paint a picture for how that experience was for you and your coaches and your team.
The experience didn't hit us as I would say as bad as everybody else. We're actually so UIC we're rebuilding. So
Okay.
this is actually our second year as a staff. They haven't, we're coming into a situation where the university hadn't won in the previous 5 or 6 years, and so we're actually rebuilding. So we were not going to the
Oh,
NCAA tournament.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, but it did, it it stopped, a lot of other people. I was quite happy for IUPUI who had done something that was historical for their university, and they didn't get a chance to go to the tournament and showcase. Maybe they could have won a few games and things like that, which would have been great for the Horizon League. But
Mhm.
it's been weird. It's a weird time. It's a weird time for recruiting. It's a weird time for our players. So yeah, it's been just it's weird.
Yeah, yeah. Weird is definitely a way to respond. Whenever people ask me or I talk to people, that's the exact word I use. Weird, and just you're just trying to navigate the best you can. Um, okay, so yeah, next question. Obviously, we're both from Cleveland, Ohio. So just talk about the Cleveland culture. Growing up in Cleveland, obviously playing sports. I feel like you were pretty popular as far as sports is concerned at an early age. So just talk about some of the experiences you had, growing up in the city.
I think that when coming from Cleveland and the area that I come from, either you play sports or you do other things that kind of detour you from having a successful adulthood, teenagehood, or whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
for me, sports for me was an outlet. It was an outlet for me to be able to go do something and be a part of something. And um, I was raised by my grandmother in a house with my sisters, and my grandmother loved her to death, and she's deceased now, but she raised me and my two sisters, and she worked a lot. So being able to get out and just be around other people and feel that love and sports was that for me. Especially once I became good enough, I started playing travel ball and all that good stuff. So it was a great outlet for me.
Yeah. I could attest. I can attest to that. It was the same thing for me. My parents just wanted to make sure I stayed busy. Like you say, if you're not playing sports or like super into the books, you know how Cleveland is. You can easily get into something that's not so good. So sports
Yeah.
definitely like just kept us busy. Um, so I got a random question, and I just wanted to see how good your memory is. Do you
Okay.
remember we was probably like 8 years old, but me and my dad played 2-on-2 versus you and your dad or your uncle up at Woodhill. We was literally like 8 years old, and the only reason I remember is because you was the first girl I ever seen that could hoop like that could hoop like that had game. Like, do you remember that?
It would have had to have been my uncle.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to see if you had
it would have had
a
to
memory
been my
like
uncle.
okay.
And I played so many. It's so crazy. I played so many games up at Woodhill, man, and up at Zelma that it all like starts
Yeah,
running
yeah.
together.
Right.
Yeah.
I already know. I think I got like a different kind of memory, but I just remember that wholeheartedly because, like I said, you were the first female that I ever saw that could like really, really play. I knew from that day, like once I got wind of you again, I think maybe like in middle school or high school, I was like, yeah, that don't surprise me. I remember we played when we were super young. She could hoop back then.
Did I win? Shit.
Oh well, I mean,
Did I win?
of course you didn't win, but
Man. Yeah,
you
okay.
definitely had game.
I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna let you get away with that. But I don't.
Yeah, so just talk about your high school experience. Like I know you finished at Lutheran East, and you were a top guard in the state of Ohio. So just talk about like just certain experiences that stand out to you in high school basketball playing in Cleveland, like before you migrated to college.
High school was a fun time. I started out at Tech. Rough high school.
Yeah, of
Um,
course, we all know that.
and back then it was a little different. Yeah, it's not as it didn't have the new tech and all the security and all those they have
Hmm.
now. But it was a very very but as an athlete, I think that it was great because the people from the projects and everything they despite all the craziness that was going on outside of the school and around and who don't all that. I think they did a great job of supporting the athletes. I think that Tech was phenomenal for me. You know what I mean? That was I was comfortable in that environment.
Right.
I grew up around the roughness and the toughness and you got to be tough to go here. You
Mm-hmm.
be can't be soft. You can't be scared. You got to be tough and
Right,
you got to have some type of backbone. And
right.
I grew up like that, so that was it was fun. We won a lot, won the city
Hmm.
championship like that when I was freshman.
Hmm.
Um, so it was fun transferring over to Lutheran East. I really went there, Melvin Berg, love him to death. First guy to really take interest in me on the basketball side outside of Brett Moore. And like, he was like, yo, I'm leaving. I'm going over here. I want you to come do this. And I was like, you know what? Why not? You did so much for me when I was a kid and everything like that. Like, so
Of
it made
course,
sense.
of
And
course.
Lutheran East was terrible. They hadn't won. They were horrible.
Yeah,
Um,
they were like
they
Division 3 or 4 or something like that, right?
were horrible. And I'm speaking to the women's side because on the men's side, John and Sam Liggins, they were there. They had wanted us to get
Yeah,
together and
yeah,
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. The brothers, I remember them.
Yeah, their jerseys are retired in the East. So when I got there in Burke and we got over there, man, it was just like, we won. I don't remember how many games we won. I was averaging like almost 30 points. We
Yeah.
went to the district championship.
Hmm.
That year I was state MVP and all types of other little things. So
Yeah. I remember you had all the accolades.
yeah, it was great. Anytime you can go somewhere that's not thriving and you can, what I'm saying, you can
You
lay that
thrive.
foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the next couple years they were really good. That's always fun. It's always great to see when I go there. My jersey hangs in the gym, so
Oh
it's
man.
it's a great man. You put the work in and you get rewarded in ways that are promising and it's healthy. Love
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yes, that sounds like a great experience. I remember you just being highly touted. You winning all type of awards, always in the newspaper. So I appreciate you giving those details. So talk about your transition from high school to college. I know for me, my transition from high school to high school from the Ville to University of Iowa, it was very hard just getting used to it, going to a predominantly white school. You know how we grew up. We never really went to school with white people. So talk about your transition, from going from there to going to Xavier.
Yeah. Did you finish at Iowa before we get into that? Did you finish there? Because my brother Deontay Morrow,
Oh
he
yeah,
started
yeah,
at Iowa and then he
yeah.
finished at Toledo.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if
Yeah,
y'all were
yeah,
so
yeah. Me and Tay, we went there together. We graduated 2007 and went there together. And yeah, I ended up finishing there. I was actually like,
okay.
when I went there, it was probably like five or six Cleveland guys on the team, and I ended up actually being like the only guy to finish. Like go figure. Most guys transfer just because and it's some things in the news right now, like the sports news, where they talking about racial bias
Oh
and
yeah,
racial disparities
absolutely.
at
Yeah,
the
I know.
University of Iowa. Yeah, and actually Deontay Moore, he actually spoke out about it, spoke out about his experience. So, but yeah, I finished there.
Okay, yeah. Well, college for me, like it was great. I mean, I ended up going to Xavier, and a lot of people say, well, why didn't you just go to Old State? Why didn't you?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
lot of schools. I visited schools, Michigan State, Ohio State, all those places, and that stuff was great. But you get a feeling about like when you feel something is right, like and
hmm
you know it's right, and you know. And when I went on to visit Xavier, I felt that, and I knew like, man, and also about the people that were coming in. I knew we were going to be good,
hmm
like immediately. And
hmm
me being from Cleveland and being the type of person I am, I wasn't worried about other good players coming in because I felt like I'm gonna play regardless. And so I got there and it was great. It was very, I really found out who I was, learned a lot about myself. Going in, I thought everybody's against me. The world is against me. I
yeah,
can't trust nobody. I gotta, you know, and that mentality is it's a weird mentality to have,
yeah,
especially
yeah, definitely.
when you're becoming a part of a team and you're trying to do things that's bigger than yourself.
hmm
So I had to learn that. And once I learned that, and like I said, I played with six All Americans.
Wow.
We went to this every year. My last 2 years, we were top three in the country, to the
Mm.
Elite Eight. Like things that people don't get the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
And I started, every year. So it was a phenomenal experience for me, man. I love Xavier.
And I know Xavier is a private university as well, but what do you have any experiences that stand out to you in any NCAA tournament experiences? Because like you said, most people that go to college to play basketball, female or male, like you're not gonna get the chance to be in an NCAA tournament all 4 years. And especially playing the Elite Eight. Like that's an experience that obviously no one can take back. Does anything like stand out to you during those four NCAA tournament experiences?
Um, well, it's hard as hell. Like it's not something that you just click your finger. Oh, I'm in the NCAA like that. So, um, from a young age, like Mel Burke and being and things like that, you get that's instilled in you to do the work.
Mhm.
And I wasn't the same player as a freshman as I was as a senior. You know what I mean? So, and you get better, and each year you got better. And year we were blowing teams out, but I mean my junior and senior year, I was coming out at about the 12-minute mark, and I ain't really
Oh.
had to play. We were still playing halves then, so I was coming out about the 12-minute mark, and I really didn't have to play anymore. And
Okay, y'all
so
was
I
blowing teams
think
out.
yeah, we was dogging teams, like. But I think that's the thing, a um chasing that it's a thrill. Like you get this thrill of the year before you didn't go as far as you should have. It's like I can do it over and be better. And then
Right.
so you start chasing that, and I think that's what happened each year that I was at Xavier. And man, I'm telling you, like we were different. We were a different breed. You used to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
them. You had to beg us to do extra work. Like we were
Hungry,
forward.
committed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to follow your career as much as I can while we was in college. And I remember y'all just being nice every year. being in the tournament every year, and also your boys basketball team as well. Like y'all, those are some good years.
Here, we both. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you don't see stuff. I mean, you do see it. I mean, UConn did it at a point. I believe Tennessee did it at a point. Ohio, no, it wasn't Ohio State. It was someone else. Baylor. Baylor did it. Like you rarely see where the men's team is top 10 and the women's team is top 10. Like that's a rare occasion, and
Definitely rare.
we were fortunate that like we did that 3 years in a row. I believe top 25. 3 years in a row, both men's and women, and just imagine what the campus was like, man. It was
I was just about to say that. I was about to say I'm sure the vibes on campus was like just immaculate.
You could do no wrong, and I can tell people I could walk on water and they believe it, like literally, like you could do no wrong. Like on the flip side of that, though, the bad part of that is like you're under this umbrella where eyes are always on you, and it's like, man, do nothing. Like these people, they think you're so like you're
like a god to them, kind of
like you're not human anymore. Yeah. And you want to make human mistakes. You want to do human stuff. It's like you can't, because everybody's eyes on you. The press is on you. It's pressure on you. It's good and to do this, and you gotta walk this way. You gotta talk like this. You gotta look like this. You gotta, so that part of it wasn't, that was tough for a lot of us, because a lot of us from the inner city, a lot of us, you know what I'm saying? When I played at Xavier, you had Indianapolis, you got Columbus, you got Cleveland, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us from the inner city. And
all inner city personalities.
Yeah, so we weren't accustomed to going to the ballroom dances and booster meetings and things like that. And so you gotta educate yourself on that. We started doing what's it called? Etiquette classes and things like that, which was we turn up with the people. Like
So is that just like a private university type style thing, or?
Yeah, Xavier is a Jesuit school. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. Jesuit school, but you wouldn't know that. Especially in sports world back then when it was the way it was, you wouldn't have known, because it was just so like everybody in the city started. And UC is right around the corner, so we always had that UC Xavier rival and all those good things. But everybody knew what it was, man.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm saying, everybody was going on.
Right. Yeah, man. I can only imagine those times. So talk about like your transition from, after this illustrious college career, have you had all the success? Talk about your transition from there to pros. I'm not sure. I'm sure you probably had like a few WNBA workouts, but then you ultimately end up playing like 3 years in Finland. So just talk about that transition from college to the pros. I would presume that it was a lot different.
It's very different. I think that the way that the women's game is that WNBA, and I say this, it's political. Anything else, but the difference with that is that there are way less teams than the NBA. There are way less opportunities for women, and so despite how good you are, unless you were first round, top 3 or 5 or whatever, what have you. It was a lot of people in my class that should be in the league still and got waived, and so it's just it's political, and that's that's that. I had a great time in Europe though. I played in Finland, I played in Germany, so I had a phenomenal time there. Again, you go somewhere, I had experiences. I'm traveling the country. I'm never met. I'm from Cleveland, like what I mean. You in Europe, I'm living in Europe. I'm traveling. I'm doing all these things that without basketball, I don't know if those opportunities would have been afforded to me. So
yeah. Did people speak English in Germany and Europe, or did you have to learn like French or Spanish or something?
So Finland was difficult because they spoke Finnish, which was like a made up their own language, and
wow.
There was translators with the team and things like that. But
Okay.
Because they have their own language. Germany was lit. Germany is Americanized. Like if I urge anybody, like if I could live I still do a camp over in Germany. It's crazy, but if I could pick anywhere to live right now, I would live in Wiesbaden, Germany. Like I love Germany. love it. So that was a great opportunity. You know, they have like the second, I believe it's like the second largest military base for the U.S. or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's thousands of soldiers over there, so it's real American. So yeah.
Yeah. Which place would you say had the best food?
Oh, Germany for sure.
Germany for sure.
Yeah, sure. Like, man, it was cool. Like I said, it was cool. I lived in Helsinki. I played for a team out of Espoo, and it was cool. But there were, all the Americans that played over there. We didn't play on the same team, so we were about 2 hours apart. And actually, one of my college teammates played for a team over there.
Mhm.
The year that I got over there, but she year before me. And so she was in, I don't even remember what it's called, but she was in Finland as well. But even that was like a 2 hour drive. And so it was just, it was cool, but
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a cool experience. Like you are one and not many that to have an illustrious college career and then had that opportunity to play overseas and just meet all these different cool people and see all these different cool monuments. So talk about like the day you decided that you was done with football. Basketball, and you were gonna go into coaching. I know for me, it was hard. Like it was hard to swallow that pill, something that I had been doing, 20 plus years, something that you have been doing 20 plus years, to say, all right, I'm done. I'm never gonna do this again, except for like just rec leagues or just for fun, and I'm transitioning into this. Were there any ill feelings, or was it kind of an ill transition for you?
no, there was no ill feelings because I walked away when I wanted to walk away. It was
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't forced to stop or I wasn't injured or any of those things. Like I
Mm-hmm.
knew I was going to coach when I was a player.
Okay,
So
okay.
I was a player. I knew that, the passion behind me being like a point guard and always being critical of myself, but being able to spill out and talk to my teammates and coach them. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I knew I was a coach as a player. So, and once I got to the professional level, I just was like, man, I'm not going to do this for 10 years. Like, I'm just not, like, I didn't, I didn't have that desire. Like, because it's like, man, I've done it at the highest levels.
Mm-hmm.
The cream that I've done what people, dream about and they hype about and things like that. And for me, it's like, man, I don't have nothing to prove to nobody. And
Mm-hmm.
so I walked away when I wanted to walk away. And I
Okay.
don't feel ill. I don't wake up and be like, yo, I should stay, because if that was the case, I can get a job right now. I
Yeah.
still can play.
Yeah.
But I don't have the desire to do that. My
Yeah.
desire is coaching and helping young ladies kind of figure out who they are and use basketball as a tool to like navigate life after
Yeah.
that. And so yeah, I'm happy with what I chose to do
Yeah.
and what I'm doing.
Oh, that's a dope thing. I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of people. And I'm not sure if I'm sure it's not a male and female thing. But I know a lot of guys that had a transition like you, knew they wanted to coach, knew exactly what they wanted to do when the game was done. And also I know guys that were, kind of confused, kind of like wasn't sure what direction they wanted to go in, or like you say, you walked away when you wanted to. A lot of times in football and basketball, that doesn't happen. Like you may want
Yeah,
to play, you may think you're nice, but if your phone not ringing, if your agent not talking about nothing, like you gotta
yeah.
just kind of accept that and swallow that pill. So, but that's so dope that you knew exactly what you wanted to do, and you moved with that kind of like integrity and energy. So that's super dope to hear that. Yeah, so let me lay out your career. Obviously, I took some notes on you, but let me lay out your career trajectory. So you started as administrative assistant at Wright State, spent 3 years at Augusta University, obviously doing several things, balancing several roles, like dual roles. Then you were assistant coach at Flagler University. Now your current role is associate head coach at the University of UIC. So just talk about like your action steps and your like consistency and just basically giving your all and doing all these different things for these different universities to continue to get better, continue to learn the infrastructure of women's basketball, and talk about how you got to where you are now.
Um, I think that So for me, like when I was at UIC, I was pulled to UIC to be an assistant coach, but the assistant coach ended up not getting the job that she was going for. And so what that did was, and other options had been taken away. So that coach created a position for me, just for me to have something. And so, I did that, but I knew like that, I'm not I wasn't into doing the administrative side of it. So, after that 1 year, we actually went to the NCAA tournament and we won the league championship, went to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. And, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go coach. And D2, what some people get misconstrued about the coaching world is they think that I got to coach on the D1 level. You don't. And I learned more things about myself and I became so much better at the D2 level. And here's why. D2, there's only two coaches, you and the head coach. You get four, plus a double, plus video coordinator, plus all those great things. Division 2, you don't. And so you got to wear a lot of different hats. You got to be a lot of different people and you got to do a lot of different things. And within that, you are learning so many different things. Like things that have not had that opportunity, I would, whether I'm a recruiting coordinator or whatever the case is, a lot of places on these college staffs, like a lot of people are one-dimensional. And they're one-dimensional because they don't get to do anything. They're hey, you're this. And that's what you are.
Right.
And
This
so
is it. Yeah.
You got to find a way to go somewhere where you can be multiple things so that you can sharpen your skills. Yeah, so now coach calls me and say, hey, this is what I need. Well, I can do that. Okay, what I need, I can do that. I don't never have to pick up the phone and be like, I've never done that before. I've never done that before. Like, because I got that opportunity in D2. So, I say that to say, all you coaches out there that think that you gotta be, you don't. There are great opportunities at the D2 level for a lot of people. So yeah, but, I mean, it's all about just working hard, man. I watch a lot of film. I watch a lot of ball. I watch a lot of, it's almost like playing. Just a lot of,
right.
You still got to practice your skill, your craft. You still have to work at it.
Right.
And that entails like, venturing out and doing other things, going to clinics, watching clinics, listening to different speakers, watching different videos, watch men's basketball, watch women's basketball, watch late game stuff. So I do a lot of that. And I think that's what has gotten me to where I am. And, that this is not the end. Like I continue to grow and develop. And there's a lot of things I still need to work on, a lot of things I need to get better at. But that's just a little bit of my journey. And that's just, but I see so many people discouraged because they don't get a Division I job. It's nothing.
Right. And just to piggyback on what you said, I think, once your Division I opportunity does come, whenever that will be, like you say, you're gonna be so ahead of the game because for all these years you've been so used to carrying these different hats and being multifaceted in all these different avenues. So like you said, you don't have to be pressed to get a Division I opportunity, but when you do, and if you choose to do that, your skill set will be a lot more elevated than others because you spent so many years putting the work in. That's A1 right there. So like I was saying at the beginning of this interview, I call this podcast After Effect Podcast, and I think that as athletes, we all have some type of after effect when we are done playing. We've been playing our respective sport for 20 years. We've had so many mixed emotions: wins, losses, ups, downs, pain, rage, sorrow, smiles, sadness, things like that. And we've learned so many lessons from all our different coaches, from uni league, from uni ball to middle school to high school to college to pro and to now. But what would you say some lessons? What would you say some lessons that you took, just from your whole career that could possibly be an after effect, and also that you try to instill like in your players right now, some things that really stood out to you during your career?
I think the biggest thing for me that I've taken is that you despite what anybody say or how anybody else is doing things, you just got to be yourself. I've always been myself. I ain't never tried to please nobody. I don't, I take things at face value. I meet people where they are, and anytime you see me, you're going to get special. You're not going to get yo, who is that? Like, you're gonna know it's me. You're gonna get the same person day in and day out because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I would tell a lot of people things that I've learned is that your journey is not gonna look like anyone else's journey. Like,
Your journey is
now
your journey.
I may get to the same location, but the way you got there is gonna be totally different, and you gotta be okay with knowing that. Well, shit, I might have more bumps in my road than this person, but that's okay. As long as you get to wherever the destination is, then that's what it's about. And like the other thing is, you got to be confident. Be confident in this business. If you're trying to sell yourself and you're not confident in what you're doing, or you're not confident about something, like coaches, like people can sniff that out. If you
Okay.
are unsure of you, how am I gonna hire you? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
how are kids gonna listen to you if you are unsure of you? So
Right.
you got to be confident. And you know, people kill me with the cocky and all this. Listen, it's not about that. It's about like you have done your due diligence and put yourself in position to know exactly what you're talking about, and feeling like you've had enough experiences to be able to give back and teach from your experiences. And so it has nothing to do with being cocky. It's got to do with being confident and being
Right.
knowing that, yo, I put the time in, I know what I'm talking about. So
Is there, would you say, is there a fine line between being confident and being humble? Because like you said, like you say, all your experiences and all these big experiences that you've had give you that confidence that you do know, and you can give that game, you know, to the younger generation. But then you say like some people could see it as cocky. So do you feel like there's a fine line between cocky and humble? I mean, confident and humble, or you got to kind of just believe that you're just being confident?
there's always a line between everything. Like, it's one thing to be like, yo, my word is the book. Is God. You know, as opposed to, yeah, like if you carrying yourself that's totally different than you just being confident in what you're saying. I'm
Yeah.
confident in knowing that, hey, listen, I'm prepared as a coach. I can, you know what I'm saying, I still can demo, I can get on the court, my player development point, blah, blah. Like that's a confident. I'm not saying like, yo, if you go over there, they don't know what they talking about. I'm the only one know what I'm talking about. You know,
Right,
downplaying.
right, 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 right.
Like, you will never see me
That's
doing that.
cocky. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
then I, I'm smart enough to know that I don't know enough. So like I'm always, you can learn something from everybody, right, wrong, and different. Everybody can teach you something. I
Exactly.
don't care if you're 98 or if you 2.
Right.
Everybody can teach you something.
Yeah.
Got nothing to
Definitely.
do with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's those 3 points you hit on, I think are definitely powerful. You know, being unapologetically you, understanding that your journey is your journey, and you know, being confident. Those are like A1. If you coaching and you know, whatever respective field that you're in, like you know, you need those 3 components. So yeah, last question. I saw that you were inducted, well, you were introduced the Women's Basketball Coaches Association prestigious 30 under 30 list, you know, a couple years ago. So a question that I wanted to ask is just, was that kind of like a full circle moment for you? Because obviously you won all these awards and accolades as a women's basketball player, but then to be highlighted on that list, obviously, you know, before you were 30, was that like a full circle moment? And what, like, do the awards feel different as a coach than a player? Like, is there any difference, or it's kind of just like the same jovial feeling?
Yeah. I mean, anytime you putting your all into something and you spilling your guts and you putting your blood, sweat, and tears into something, it's always great to be recognized. Not that I do it for the recognition, but it's okay for people to reassure you that you are doing a job and you're touching people. So that for me, yeah, I mean, it means a lot to see that as a player. You know, I was up here, I put in the work, and I met those accolades and things like that. And now as a coach, and to answer your second question, to me it feels better as a coach because it's not about me. I'm changing other people's lives. I'm doing something that's benefiting other people. As a player, yeah, you're part of a team, but all those accolades I got that has my name specifically on them, that's about me. You know what I'm saying? These about these kids, and that's the part I love about coaching, man. When kids graduate, or women graduate, or whoever they graduate, like, yo, coach, I'm getting married. Invitation to the wedding. Yo,
Yeah.
recommendation letter. and then call me back, y'all, I got the job. You know, those are the things that's what thrilled me as a coach. Like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm
exactly.
having a baby, you
Yeah.
know, things like that. Like, so it makes it so much better. It feels better. Not that, you know, as a player, not that I didn't love those things and all that. Like I said, I put the work in, but just when it's bigger than you,
Right. That's just a different kind of feeling.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's powerful. Well, yeah, that's all I had. Special, man. I appreciate you carving out some time to hop on the podcast. I know you're super busy with meetings and things like that.
No problem. Anytime I
Yeah,
can do Cleveland, man. Anytime I can do for Cleveland, anytime I can do for anybody for that matter, that's gonna help them with something that they're trying to build and what they got going on. Just
of course, of course, of course. Yeah, well, again, I appreciate it. Stay safe again during these, like we said earlier, these weird times. Best of luck, in your next season with recruiting and everything. I know the summer is usually a big time for recruiting. I'll try to, stay tapped in and stay abreast of what you got going on and try to get you back on the show down the road.
There we go. Well, let me know. Anytime you need me, just reach out.
Okay, I definitely will. Take it easy. You have a good day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, so again, that's my first female episode, female athlete, and Special Jennings. Obviously, you heard on the pod. I mean, Ohio legend, Cleveland legend. Played 3-4 years overseas, Germany and Finland, Europe. And now is giving back and doing her thing, killing it as an associate head coach at UIC. So I appreciate you guys for tapping in to episode 13. Have a good day. Peace.